Good morning. It's hump day. Mike. So I was watching some presentations by a guy named Bill Gross. You've probably never heard of Bill. Bill runs a incubator for new startups in California, and he has taken 7 companies from startup to $1 billion. He's one of the speakers at the Tony Robbins Business Mastery stuff, and so I was watching some of his ideas on doing these startups. And, you know, I was just reading, one of my senior leader buddies was posting, saying, who else can I watch, besides Tony Robbins and some of these other people? And people were throwing up names, of other personal development folks. And what I find interesting with all of this is when you study all of these different things, to me, they're really telling you the same thing. It's just a matter of how they describe it and how they convey it and how they language it and whether or not that resonates with you. If the 3-2-1 language of Mel, I think it's Mel Robbins, that resonates with you, then great. Obviously Tony resonates with me. But as I was listening to Bill talk about taking these companies public and to $1 billion, and if you don't know Bill Gross, like I said, you probably never heard of him. He's like the most humblest, nerdiest guy that you've ever seen. And he talks about how, number one, how important timing is. So essentially they invented YouTube before there was YouTube, and they had the idea and they had the funding and they had celebrities backing it and people that were going to do stuff. The problem is people didn't have the technology yet. People didn't have the bandwidth to actually stream anything. So when they went to run their videos, it would take them an hour to download a video. Well, nobody's going to do that. So he said, we had the great idea. We just had the great idea a little bit early. He said, had I waited 5 more years, then that idea would have been YouTube. But I just had it a little bit quick. So timing, you can have the right idea and just have it be the wrong time, and it's not going to work out. So that doesn't mean that you were wrong. It just means that your timing was a little bit off. So something that you got to pay attention to with regards to everything that you're doing. It's the right idea, but is it the right time for that particular idea? The other thing that he said that I really liked is he said, you never get it right out of the chute. And I think that's true with everything. Whatever it is you're set out to do, whether it's financial freedom or whether it's relationships or whether it's your health. You're always changing your approach, always. You're going to find something that's going to work for a period of time, and then all of a sudden it's not going to work as well, and you're going to have to do something different, and then you're going to have to adapt, and then you're going to have to adapt, and then you're going to have to adapt. So whether it's staying in great health or great shape for the rest of your life, whether it's having a great relationship with your significant other or with your child or children, whether it's success in your business or company or your career, we always are going to be changing the way that we do things in order to stay ahead with the next problems and challenges that we're hit with. So when that happens, I think we have a tendency to look at it as though we're failing, but we're not. When you start out, every time you do something and you realize that you need to change your approach, you're learning. And anytime you learn something, you're not failing. You are now wiser than you were before, wiser than everybody else, and able to make the next step and have better distinctions so that you've got experience that can lead you to the goal that you're looking for. Remember, good judgment comes from experience. Experience comes from making mistakes. Mistakes comes from bad judgment. And every time you make a change, it's going to create new outcomes, which is going to create change, which is going to create a new problem that you're going to have to face. So those cycles never end. So even when you make your decision and you're achieving your goal or you achieve your goal and set your new one, understand that the way that you did it in the past may or may not work in the future. And where I think we get into trouble is when we get stuck doing the same thing and it's not working, and instead of changing our approach, we do it more and harder. I've seen people do that in business again and again and again, where they had a successful business and then all of a sudden things changed and their business wasn't successful. And rather than adapting, they just did the same thing that they'd always done. They just did it more and harder, which did nothing but dig them into the ground quicker. And then in the end, they looked around and went, why didn't this work? Well, it didn't work because you didn't change what you were doing. When you weren't getting the outcome that you wanted, you need to change your approach. So expect that that's going to happen. You're going to find the way that it works, and you're going to achieve that goal. And then when you go to do it again, you're going to have to figure out a different way. If you've spent a good deal of your life taking care of your health, you know that what you did 10 years ago isn't what you're doing now. That some of it will be the same, but a lot of it will be different. You got to change. Things adapt. Things don't work the same as they did in the past, and now you're going to have to figure out how to work them differently in order to get the same results or better results. So that just hit me as, here's a guy that's had massive success in taking companies public, 7 companies to $1 billion. I mean, Steve Jobs did 2 Fortune 50 companies, but there's nobody that's even close to taking 7 to $1 billion. So this guy's dealt with a lot of different adversity and how to grow things and how to do all that stuff. And it's the same lessons. You're not going to get it right out of the chute. So expect that. And that's learning, and then you get to move on to the next step. Have a great Wednesday, everybody. It's going to be beautiful here in the northern Midwest in the United States. I hope you have an awesome day. Thanks for watching. We're all in this together. Let's take care of each other.